Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the presentation for e-estate. It's Thursday evening, 8 p.m. UK time. So what we're going to do is this session is generally arranged or aimed at an introduction to e-estate. I'm going to do something slightly different this evening. What we're going to do is take people who know a little bit about e-estate, possibly. Although I won't leave out the new people who are just looking at this, but we're going to do kind of a training and a look around the back office, help your people get started. We'll also look at some of the latest promotions that we've got on the go, that sort of thing. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to do a full presentation from my PowerPoint. Okay, I'm not quite sure what's happened with the view. So let's go back to gallery. There we go. So I'm not going to do a full presentation, but I am going to start with the presentation because there's a couple of slides I want to get through, and also there's a couple of slides I want to finish the session with. So we'll do some of that. So welcome to an introduction to e-estate. It's the 12th of March 2026. I'm Andy Galloway, and this is on behalf of e-estate, tokenized property. And so let's get everything organized where we want it, and then we're ready to rock and roll. So what is e-estate? All industries are moving from offline to online. So that's kind of a cryptic thing to say, but if you're wondering about tokenization and Web3 and what it means to you, what it means is that pretty soon all businesses, all industries, that even those that have been traditionally conducted offline, people meeting in offices, having phone calls together, going and signing contracts with solicitors, all that sort of thing that's been done traditionally offline, is all going to be moved online, and the technology is moving in such a way to enable that. It's not by accident. It's not, people don't say, oh, now that we can do this, let's move online. No, the technology is being developed because all businesses are moving online, all industries, and real estate is no exception. So we're all familiar that people have a web presence, they have a website, which is kind of a window to their offline businesses, but taking advantage of the digital age means a lot more than that. It means actually conducting business online. So it's kind of the next evolution. Nobody really saw it coming when the internet was coming into popular use at the end of the 90s. But this is the I don't know, the logical outcome, if you like, that things will move online. Now, there is a challenge if you have an offline business. If you've got an online business, maybe you're providing training, you can do that over, on your website, or maybe you're providing digital products to people. That can all be done online and has been done for a number of years. But when you have your product is an offline reality, a real world asset, if you like, an RWA, you've seen articles about RWAs, such as real estate, then you need, in order to move that into the online world, you need to do something called digitizing, or one way of digitization is tokenization. So you can tokenize something, you can turn something into a digitized asset, and then you can sell that digitized asset, which is inextricably linked in a very legal sense to the real world asset. For example, buying a car. You buy a whole car with one token from a car dealership, for example, and that's it. You own that token, therefore you own that car. Well, real estate has been plagued over the years with a number of issues. I have quite a lot of issues, actually. One of them was that it was very, very expensive for ordinary people to get involved in real estate. And I'm not just talking about buying your home, I'm talking about investment properties, rental properties, for example, or getting involved in land plot deals. All these things that real estate people like to keep under a shroud of mystery because they make a huge amount of money from that. As long as they can make it mysterious and make it difficult, for the layman to get involved, then there's more deals for them, basically. Excuse me. So no real barriers to it except that, the knowledge, the understanding, the courage, if you like, to put everything on the line and jump into real estate. You'd need to have a line of credit or a lot of money yourself just to get started. And you'd have to spend a huge amount of time, money, and effort developing context. It's not really about real estate. It's about context. It's about who you know. It's about knowing all the legal people. It's about knowing all the sellers, about all the developers, about who's going to buy, and so on. Just put it on being able to pull all of that together into deals. So that's why that's why real estate paid so well, because not everybody could do it. Well, digitization means that you don't have to have all those problems. What you can do is you can tokenize a property. You can split it up into small pieces and sell this person. You can sell them a hundredth share. You can sell this person 200 share, 200ths of a share. Okay. And so it becomes a lot more affordable. And that's really what we've done here. We take a property with the estate, we take a property, we tokenize it. So for example, a $3.3 million villa in Florida that we've just acquired, split that down into 330,000 tokens, and you could buy 100 tokens. I could buy 1,000 tokens. Somebody else could buy 79 tokens. Somebody else could buy. So you get the idea. That's what tokenization of a digitized real world asset means, and very much in real estate. That's what we're talking about this evening. So the products are still in the real world, but all of the legal stuff, the ownership and everything else is done in a digitized world, which you can do through your computer, through your laptop, through your PC. You can even do it on your phone. Okay, you can buy part of a real estate product on your phone. So it's very, very accessible for ordinary people, which is why the lid on real estate is being blown off, because it's no longer a big boys club. For many years, even though they were tokenizing properties, they were still then finding a big buyer to buy all of those tokens. So they didn't really understand for about 8 years or so, since 2015 when they first tokenized real estate, they didn't understand what they had their hands on. E-estate has really taken the bull by the horns and has made this available, made real estate available for the masses. So that's the mechanism. An e-estate is a business operating in the forefront of tokenized real estate. There is a collaboration between two pre-existing companies, Eli Property Group Incorporated and the association Real Digital Realtors, ARDR. So Eli Property Group, a little bit about these guys. Eli Property Group represents the real estate execution layer of the ecosystem. Wow, that's a statement, isn't it? What it really means is they take care of the property. They source the property. When they've got a suitable property, they acquire it. They tokenize it. They make that tokenization available to us, and they also manage the property. They make sure that the property is earning money for us, because when we buy a property, it's a money-making asset. It doesn't just sit there waiting for the capital growth. Now, there is capital growth. I'll show you that in a minute. There is capital growth that really affects your portfolio, but that's not what they're waiting for. You make money with these properties every single day because they put tenants in there and they take care of the tenants. You don't have to worry about the tenants. They change the light bulbs. They fix anything that's broken. We don't have to worry about that. It's all included in the price. And if you're in real estate, you'll be going, well, this is a dream come true. This is really, really good, because all of those extra things are what plague people involved in real estate. So they've been around for about 50 years. And when I first got introduced to them, I checked back their history for 50 years. I checked their filing records for the last 50 years with the US government. I checked their first website that was put up in 1997. There's an app you can use, or there's a site you can go to where you can look back at previous versions of websites. And I did that with them. So they're a real company. They're real people. They deal with real property in the traditional sense of it, but they've also become available with ARDR to make tokenized real estate available to us. So they've been around a while, been around the block a few times, as we say. And they provide, I mentioned this, asset sourcing, property management, operational execution, transaction expertise, and so on. So everything to do with the property side of the deal, they do. So the Association of Real Digital Realtors, what's left for them to do? That's us. Okay, people like me, maybe people like you, if you want to become an agent through e-estate, and you have a code of conduct, you have a contract that you You sign to say you're going to comply with all these things, and we become professional. We learn our trade, if you like. We have to prove that we know a little bit about what we do before we're ever let loose to become an AIDR agent. Having achieved that, of course, you have a certificate that you can download. But AIDR provides the professional standards, the professional framework within which we operate, without which it would be impossible for you and I to get involved in this and make good money, build a team, and make money from tokenized real estate. So what we're looking at is the emergence of digital real estate agents, people like me, possibly people like you. It's not mandatory. You can just join to buy properties, but you can also join to introduce other people as well as an agent. So it marks us as the professional distributors of tokenized real estate. It's not just any old Joe lunch bucket doing this. You've got to know what you're talking about. It's a professional association that establishes credibility, structure, and long-term career legitimacy, and you get paid very handsomely for that. And AIDR has established and continued to develop a global agent network for digital real estate agents. So this is kind of how it works. Eli Property goes out and sources the properties. Where's my mouse gone? There we go. Eli Property sources the properties, takes care of all of everything else, and then eventually says, let's put this on the platform. So then the tokenized property is made available to buyers on the platform, and then buyers assess the deals. You haven't got to buy every single property. In fact, you probably won't. You'll say, well, I like the look of that one, so I'll have $1,000 for that. I like the look of this one, I'll have $5,000 for that. Whatever it is, it's it might be $100 here, $200 there, whatever you like, whatever properties you like. Then you might say, well, actually, somebody introduced me to this and they've been looking after me. They're my agent. Maybe I'd like to do that. Maybe I'd like to progress to become an agent. There's benefits to doing so. Basically, there's money to be made. And so you say, well, I want to become an agent. So your buyer says, well, what we're going to do is we're going to get you through the training you need to do, tick all the boxes, make sure you can do what you're doing, and then you can become an agent as well. And then AIDR, who sets the standards, they make sure that you are compliant with what you've agreed to comply with, basically. And then, so that's AIDR, and then we go round in a circle again. So that's how the whole thing hangs together. You might say, well, where are all these properties? Where are the properties? Well, they're here. This is where we live. It's called the world. It's called Earth, or third rock from the sun. It depends on your sense of humor. Okay, so where do we have properties at the moment? And I need to update this because there's a couple of properties missing. There's properties in Seattle, Oregon, California, Miami, Phoenix, Arizona, Dubai, Bali, Indonesia. There are some land deals in different parts of the world as well. So business developments going on in different parts of the world. So I need to update this. And really, there's no part of the world that we can't get involved in because we're not getting involved in the properties. Somebody else is doing that for us. If we had if we had a traditional real estate business, our business would be bound by logistics really to within 50 miles of where we live or where our offices are. If we wanted to go bigger than that, then we would need to have branches and more staff and so on and so forth. But one person could run a real estate business within about 50 miles of where they live. So that's kind of the limit geographically. There's also a limit of what type of businesses what type of properties you can acquire based on your line of credit or based on how much cash you have. And of course, you don't want to have too much cash lying around because you want to keep all your money invested. Well, it's invested, it's earning money for you. So with e-estate, you can get involved in multi-million-pound villas, multi-million-pound land development plots, apartments in Dubai, and so on and so forth. So you don't have to worry about the geographical area. You don't have to worry about the size of the property. You just buy as much or as little of that property as you want. So we have apartments and houses. We have a lake house at the moment, desert villa. We have other villas and villas that are just here for tourism. These villas. One in Miami. That's why I've got to update the list again. We've got a great tourist villa in Miami. That will never be empty a single day, I don't believe. Maui is such a tourist center. So that's going to earn money for us on into the future. There's commercial property, there's business properties, land plots, business developments, business development projects, ordinary development projects. And I don't know if there are any other categories, but if there are, we'll have some of them at some point in the future as well. So this is lifted directly from the 2025 financial report by eEstate. So we have, at the moment, or at the time of writing this report on the 1st of January, we had 11 tokenized real estate projects. I think we've sold one completely now, and that's off the books, but we've replaced it with another one. The total value at the 1st of January was 104 million. The number of tokens sold has been 2 million tokens. Each of those is worth $10, so that's $20 million. They paid out over $2.5 million to buyers. People just come along and buy the property, like you and I. There are 5,679 EST holders globally. So EST is the currency with which we buy the properties. One EST is worth $10. And at the moment, or at the time of writing this, there were 120 countries had access to our website to buy properties. So we said we're preparing the release of a tourism-focused property, and that's imminent. So this is worth 3.3 million. So there's going to be 330,000 tokens. This is something I'm excited about, that you can buy. So this was lifted directly from the 2025 financial report. And what it shows here is that you can get involved in a property. On the 1st of January, you can get involved in a property like this one that was valued at 25 million. You can buy tokens as if it's this property is worth 25 million, and it's not. It's actually worth 40 million. How would you like to sell your house? Or how would you like to buy a house now at the price it was 3 years ago? So, you know, the value of the property you're buying is $1 million, but 3 years ago is only worth 750,000. That's the price you're buying at, but it's worth $1 million. That's what's happening here. Let's just have a look at that in a little bit more detail. So that one property there, that's a 62.5% increase since that property first came on our books and was first tokenized. It's gone up by 62%. That's pretty phenomenal. Pretty phenomenal. So I'm not going to go into this. I'm going to come back to this in a minute. What we're going to do now is I'm going to go over to the eEstate website. Let me just move a couple of things out the way because I'm going to share the whole screen, which means I'm going to drag some other stuff in a minute. So we're going to share. What one's that? That's screen 2. Excellent. So you can see now this is my, or maybe you can't see, this is my eEstate website. So I've logged in, and when you log in, you get an announcement come up, and in this case, it's this particular announcement. It's for the Atlanta and Houston event. Atlanta on March the 28th is a live event, and April the 25th in Houston. So it gives you information here. Once you log in, you'll see this this pop-up notification, and you can get all sorts of information here about the event for Atlanta, this here for Houston, and you can also join the Estate VIP Club in Telegram, which I strongly recommend you do, and join the Facebook official community, which I recommend you do. So go there, find out about these events, decide to go to one. It's great fun, and you will learn so much. And that's where if you take half a dozen people with you to one of these live events, then you will consolidate and solidify the core of a team of people that will all work together going forward to become wealthy. All of you become wealthy together. So it's a tremendous experience. It's a tremendous bonding experience, and you'll learn a lot and you'll have fun. So I'd recommend you make plans to be there. So this is what happens when you log in. You get to the dashboard, and the dashboard has a number of panels, and these panels are all a little snippet of information from each of the other pages. So let's have a look at the menu up here. Everything's done through this very, very simple menu. You click on buyer and you have the option of checking your e-wallet, checking real estate, and checking how much real estate you've owned, my assets. Agent, you have an option here to go to the agent panel and my clients, which is just the agents that you have. So this is your performance as an agent, if you like. This is your clients, and this is your landing page. We'll come to the landing page in a minute, and then we have a number of things where you can get rewards. One is there's a career progression for agents. You do something and you tick it off the list, check it off the list, and you can earn rewards for just achieving the things that you would do anyway to progress your career as an agent. And there's a money wheel, so you can select this money wheel here and go and check out how much money you're making on the money wheel. There's also the info hub here, and you have a knowledge base, which I'll go into in a little bit, and you have a help center. You click on the help center and it opens a Telegram channel directly between you and somebody who's going to be able to support you. Okay, a support person. So it's a direct link. Click on that, join that Telegram channel, and it's just you and the support person who's dedicated to you, which is pretty phenomenal. If you think about how many people there are in e-estate that they can provide that sort of personal support, is just phenomenal. It amazes me. So let's have a look. I'm not going to go through how you register, except to say you need to get a link off of the person who invited you to this presentation, or you need a link from the person who sent you this video. They will provide you with a link. The link will take you to a landing page. At the landing page, we can have a look at my landing page. As an agent, I have a landing page. You will have as well if you become an agent. You can edit it here to make changes, saying lovely things about yourself, how tall and strong and handsome I am. I know. I tried to play it down, and then you can. So this is what the landing page is going to look like. I can copy the link here. When I copy the link, you will see I've got a green flash up here saying the landing link has been successfully copied to clipboard. Then I can go and compose an email, a Telegram message, a Facebook post, and paste that link straight in there. So, dear John, this is the tremendous tokenized real estate business I was telling you about. Check out this landing page. Paste it in there and send that to John. He will then click on that link and he'll go here to see my landing page any second now. Okay, so he'll see this and it tells him all wonderful things about me. And then when he's ready to join, he clicks on join now, and then he can register. But he can also have a look around the whole page, the whole system, and look at all these different things: help center, partners, agents, buyer, e-wallet, tokenized, everything he could possibly want to know. He could also join these media channels if he wants to. When he's ready to get started, join now, simple registration page, and he can register literally from clicking on the site. He can click the join now and register within 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes, you can have a new buyer. So that's the landing page. That's how people get involved. That's how people get started. So when they first register, they turn up on the dashboard. Now, what they want to know is, where can I get some property? Well, initially there'll be a buyer. They won't have this agent tab available to them. So they go into buyer and they want to have a look. Well, they can check their e-wallet, but there's nothing in it. They've just registered. So we click into real estate and we come to this page. And this tells us what properties we've got available. So this one is an apartment in Miami. And you just click on all of these different tabs here. You go to a different property. So you can just flick through and see what all the different properties are. On this side, you have a profit calculator. So this is where you're going to start off to find out if you want to buy a property. There's lots of information about the property below the image here as well. So you notice when I change this image here, this up here changes. Select a property, that changes. And there are a number of things about this in the profit calculator. I can select whichever property I like. Let's suppose we're going to go for the house or houses. It tells me here the minimum to get involved to buy a share of this house is 480. Now I'm going to do this in multiples of 480. I could do $1,002. I could do any number I like as long as it's more than 480. Once I put that number in there, I learn how much per day I'm going to earn, how much per month I'm going to earn, and then how much total profit I'm going to make. Now this is exciting. I put $1,002 in, and I will earn $2,120. Now this total profit is for the first 18 months, and so you go through this active phase of earning from the property Monday to Friday for the first 18 months. And this is what's projected you will earn back in that 18 months. After that, the property goes into a passive phase, and the passive phase pays you. It's like a dividend. It's like having some shares with Microsoft or Tesla or whoever, except the difference is these shares pay out. Sorry, that's anyway, that's kind of topical because most shares are not paying out. But with e-estate, if you think of it as a share certificate, you're going to get a dividend, 10% dividend every year on that share, guaranteed. Regardless of what's happening in the economy, other shares go up and down. These, you get 10% per year. It's split into two payments. Every 6 months, you get 5%, but you're going to get it 10% a year. Now, you're going to receive that money then for the rest of the time we've got that property. And let's suppose in 20 years' time, we sell that house, so it's no longer on our books. When it's sold, you'll get back your $1,002. Simple as that. Okay, so you earn money in the active phase, you double your money in the active phase, you earn 10% per year for the next 20 years, which is again doubling your money, and then you get your money back. So if people look at this and don't get it, I don't understand, what don't they like about making money? I mean, I don't worship money, but I just need it in exchange for the things I want. I want food, I want fuel in my car, I want to pay for the heating and lighting and so on. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to have some money, and this is a great way of doing it. You can also set up, if you want, a compounding system where you take the profits of one property and buy more property. For example, every time you get $100, in fact, every time you get $10, you could buy a share of this apartment in Miami. If you want this apartment, every time you get $117 in profit, you can buy another property. Now, they're all going to be earning money. They're all going to be earning money every month. So this all compounds because now you have 3 properties and 4 properties and 5 properties, and one goes into the passive phase. But pretty soon you've got 7 properties, 8 properties, and one goes into the passive phase. Then you've got 10 and 12 properties. And so your money just keeps rolling in. If you do that, then you don't have to do that, but you can. That could be a strategy. You could put your money in here and just take the money that's coming out. And then when that when that daily income stops, you buy another property and receive the daily income again. With some of these deals, it's a very, very large income. For example, a land plot, yes, you've got to put 51,000 in, but you're making $415 a day. You're making $8,000 a month. In the 18 months, you put in 51,000, you get $157,000 back. You treble your money. And then when it goes into the active phase, I believe this one goes into the active phase, then you get over $5,000 a year while your money's busy doing something else. It's pretty awesome. There is a deal, I'm going to cover it in a minute when we go back to the slides, where you can get your money back at the end of 18 months. So it doesn't go into the passive phase. You earn money during the 18 months, then you get all your money back. It's pretty awesome. So this is how to find out which properties you want. So let's suppose we're going to go and buy let's suppose we're going to buy an apartment. We're going to buy $117 worth of an apartment. Oh, that's sold out, so we can't do that. They're going to replace it soon. The lake house, $250 on a lake house. So all I do there is click a property. In fact, what I haven't done is I haven't shown you how to put money into your wallet. So yes, I'm going to do that right now. Let's go back to e-wallet. Now I've got some money in here, but let's suppose I haven't. So I want to deposit some money. I've got some money in an Exodus wallet. Let me just tell you a little bit about moving money around from over blockchains, cryptocurrency and so on. What I would suggest you do, read into this whatever you like, what I suggest you do is don't send money from Coinbase into e-estate. don't send money from Binance into eEstate. And similarly, don't send money from eEstate into Kraken or Coinbase. Okay. All of these things are institutions and they are regulated. Okay. And so you want to avoid the regulation as much as you can. So what I'd suggest you do is have a non-custodial wallet available to you. Now, a custodial wallet such as Coinbase and Binance, okay, they're custodial wallets because when you set up a wallet, there are some keys created, and the keys create what can happen to the money in those wallets. Okay, I don't want to get too technical, but if you set up a Binance account, you don't own the keys, Binance does. You don't own the keys in a Coinbase account, Coinbase does. But there are plenty of options available to you. You can set up, you can just download a bit of free software. The one I use is Exodus. I also use Token Pocket. I use MetaMask if I really have to. I don't really like it, but some people do. There's lots of different non-custodial wallets you can download for free and use them. Now, they make a little bit of money when you use their services. That's why they provide the software for free. So what you do is if you have to buy some currency, so some Bitcoin, for example, through Binance, then you send it to your Exodus account. Then when you want to put money into eEstate, you send it from your Exodus wallet. And what I'm going to show you is kind of a process that's generic across all wallets. The buttons might look slightly different. The color scheme is completely, is different on each bit of software, but the principle is the same. The very first thing you need to know before you can send any money anywhere, exactly the same as when you're posting a postcard to somebody or a letter. Some of you don't even know what a letter is, but when you post a letter in the snail mail, in ordinary post, the very first thing you need to know before you can send that letter is where you're going to send it. Okay, so you need the address, and it's exactly the same with cryptocurrency. Before you think about going somewhere to try and set up a send operation, you need to know the address to which you're sending it. So I'm gonna cover that right now. In order to find the address to which you want to send your money in eEstate, you go into your e-wallet, make sure deposit is selected here, and then you have a list of coins that you can choose one of to send money. I like Tether TRC20. I also like Bitcoin. I like USDC. There's Bitcoin. So let's say Bitcoin. So how much am I going to send to Bitcoin? I don't know. Let's go back again now. So this is all part of preparation. Let's go back to the real estate and we'll see how much Bitcoin I need. So I'm going to buy a house, $480. I'm going to buy the property and I'm going to pay in Bitcoin. Okay, so it's telling me now that in Bitcoin I need to pay 0.00672. So I'm going to send from my Exodus wallet, I'm going to send 0.00680, something like that. Just a little bit of leeway because there's a bit of slippage. Prices of Bitcoin change from wallet to wallet. Okay, it's roughly, so it's only going to change by a few cents, maybe not even as much as $1. But what will happen with computers if the number's not exactly right? If you've got to buy something for $100, or in this case $480, and you've only got $479.99, the computer says, no, sorry, you haven't got enough money. Now, if you're doing it in real life, somebody would say, oh, I'll let you off 1 cent. Look how good I am. But computers don't know to do that. So you've got to have more than you need, maybe only a few cents or a couple of dollars more than you need, but that's just a good tip. It will stop you having then to go back later and send another $3 over. Okay. Now, while I'm in this screen, I'll show you something else. Is that there's this checkbox here called Enable Auto Capitalization. If you leave this unchecked, then you will have exactly what I said just now. You will have money coming in Monday to Friday for 18 months, and then the property will drop into the passive phase and you'll be paid 10% of what you invested in the first place. However, if you set up auto capitalization, you don't see your profit. It doesn't come into your it doesn't come into your office, your back office every single day. And I'll show you some properties that I've been doing this with. I'll show you the difference. What actually happens to your profit here is every day you buy a little bit more of that property. So to start with, you've got $480 worth, and then you've got $482, now $483, now $485. Eventually, by the end of the by the end of the 18 months, let's suppose instead of $480, I've now got $2,000. I won't have, that's a very high figure, but let's suppose I have. Then when that property gets to the end of the 18 months, it goes into the 18-month active phase. And instead of getting paid 10% on the 480, I'm getting paid 10% on the $2,000. Similarly, when the property is disposed of at the end of its working life, I don't get back my $480, I get back my $2,000. Okay, so that's kind of why you might want to use enable auto capitalization. The reason I do on some, but mostly I switch that off so that I can get the money back, because then I can withdraw it. I can send it to somebody else. There's an internal transfer system where I could send somebody $100 or $480 to help them get started. You know, so I can do that. If I don't have any profit in my e-wallet, I can't do that. So I can withdraw, I can internally transfer, or I could use that to buy more properties. So let's suppose, instead of paying in Bitcoin, I want to pay with my money in my e-wallet. Now I was going to say I haven't got enough money, insufficient funds, because I've only got 372.41. But let's go back here to the apartment in Miami. So instead of 480, I'm going to do 350. So now this all works out properly, and now I can pay. That insufficient funds button has turned into pay now buttons. If I click pay now, I can then check all of the deal, and when I'm happy with that, then I check a button that looks like the pay now button. It's a big green button, and it says sign the contract. The contract comes up on the screen. I put my John Hancock on the, I sign off the contract with my finger on the screen. Or there's a number of different options. That's what I do. I've got a touch screen, so I just drag it onto my screen number 3, which is a touch screen, and I can sign that with my finger, and then that's a legally binding contract. Then the very next thing it does is it takes the money from my e-wallet. So that's it. I've bought a small share of a nice property in Miami, in this case. So I'm going to cancel out this. I'm not going to go through the next bit, because I'm sure you get the hang of it. But let's get some money into my e-wallet. I'm going to put some Bitcoin in my e-wallet. Oh, there's Bitcoin BEP20. I don't want that. I want ordinary Bitcoin. Okay, I guess it doesn't really matter if it's... oh, there it is. Yeah, Bitcoin. So what I was looking at just now was 0.00673, and I said I'd put 0.00680. I'll send that here. So what do I need? I need the address to which I'm going to send it. Total to pay. Okay. Now, they put the USD number up here to try and help you. But once you're doing a transaction in a cryptocurrency, forget the dollar amount. Don't go somewhere else and then send 478.25 worth of Bitcoin. Don't do that. That will confuse things. The wrong amounts will turn up. It'll all go horribly wrong. Okay. Once you're in a transaction in Bitcoin or in any cryptocurrency, only think then in that cryptocurrency. Anything else will be confusing. It's like you go to Europe on holiday, and every time you get a bill in a restaurant or a bill in the hotel, you're trying to convert it back to USD. It doesn't matter what it is in USD. You've got euros, pay it in euros. The bill's in euros, pay it in euros. Don't worry about the USD value. Similarly, this bill is going to be in Bitcoin, and is literally going to create a bill, electronically going to create a bill that's going to sit there and wait for me to send 0.00680 Bitcoin. If I then send the dollar amount and it's slightly different from that, it'll just cause confusion. Now the programmers are clever. They can tolerate a certain amount of deviation, but not a huge amount. It gets flagged up manual, and then it needs to be sorted out manually, and all of a sudden you're waiting 2 days for somebody to do that, and it's not worth the hassle. Just start thinking in Bitcoin when you're in Bitcoin. So I click on confirm, and what we get now is a Bitcoin amount 6.0068, and I need, this is a Bitcoin address, so I can just copy that, or I can click this icon here as a copy icon. There's two documents overlapping. That means make a copy. Or if you know what you're doing, if you've got access to your Exodus wallet on your phone, then you can also scan that QR code. By scanning the QR code, it sets up automatically, it sets up that address and that amount. Okay, so if we don't do that, then what we have to do is do it manually. Did you see that? Address has been successfully copied to the clipboard. So let's go over to my Exodus wallet, and I'll drag my Exodus wallet over to this screen. So you should be able to see my Exodus wallet. And so I'm in my Exodus wallet here. I've selected Bitcoin from the top here. These are all the assets that I use. Now I've only got 99.58 worth of Bitcoin. So I've only got 00141. I haven't got 00, what do we say? 0.0068. Oh, of course, $480. Okay, so I haven't got enough, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to actually do the transfer. But to get the address to which I'm going to send that, I'm going to send that Bitcoin is this address here, and I've copied it. I'll copy it again. Nothing, it won't hurt. And then I go to my Exodus wallet, and I'm going to send. What I'm going to send is I'm going to send that address. I'll check that in a minute. Always, always, always check it. My personal note is money sent to estate for purchase of a house. And if I could spell, that would be really good. My keyboard can't spell. My keyboard hasn't got a spell checker. Are we there yet? Yes, we are. Some of you were screaming at the screen then, I know that. Again, what I would suggest is not all apps or not all wallets allow you to do this, but where you can, add a note. You probably won't forget where this has gone, but at some point in the future, you'll be trying to track down something else. And if you can go to all your transactions and say, that one was for e-estate, that one I sent to my mum, that one was for hotel, that one was for e-estate. Okay, it'll really take all the guesswork out of trying to find where some money has gone. And you will do that in the future. You will be looking, I wonder where that money's going. Did I pay that bill? Let me go and check. Yes, I did. There it is. I paid that bill. This is the address I sent it to. So just be good. Have good housekeeping. Now here you have the option to put in the USD amount. Let's try it, 480 USD. Oh, look at that. It's different. So I don't want to do that. I want to do that amount, which is actually cheaper. I'm actually saving a few dollars by putting in the Bitcoin amount. And so what I would do then is there's not enough funds. There wouldn't be that swap button. There would be a, in fact, let's make that smaller. Zero one, there we go. So yeah, you've got the send button there now. So you click send. It would say, are you sure? And you say yes, or it would say confirm. You confirm it, and you hear a shoo as the money leaves your account. Through the magic of the internet, the magic of blockchain, the money would then wing its merry way over to here. So we finish with this now. We don't need this anymore. We click out of there, or we can go to our e-wallet and just sit and wait for a few minutes. Different blockchains do this in different times, but what needs to happen on the blockchain is, I don't know how much you know about the blockchain, but basically what needs to happen is a certain number of people need to look at that transaction and record it and say, yes, I've made a record that transaction has happened. And when a certain number of people have done that, or a certain number of computers around the world have done that, then the money appears where you're sending it. And it depends on which wallets you're sending from, which wallet you're sending to. Sometimes it's done in one confirmation. And some currencies that takes seconds. With Bitcoin, typically 5-10 minutes isn't, 5 or 10 minutes is good. I've known it to be a day before a Bitcoin transaction is processed. So don't be too upset if it takes a little bit of time, but eventually it's going to end up in here. And then when you buy your property, you can select from your e-wallet to pay for that property. Okay, so that's kind of a couple of good disciplines. Don't send directly from one regulated business to another regulated business. Always, always, always put your own non-custodial wallet, the one that you have the keys to, the one that you're in charge of, the one that nobody else can touch except you. Put that in the middle of every single transaction. You will have a lot less hassle if you do that. So let me tell you a little story about what first put me onto this. Is somebody paid something to a platform like this. It wasn't this platform, but it was kind of a similar arrangement. They sent money from their Coinbase account, and it went to that other business, and it sat there. And eventually, some software did some stuff and said, "No, sorry, this isn't suitable. We're going to return it." Well, what happened in Coinbase, meanwhile, is they only use their wallets one time. Each address is only used one time. So by the time the money was sent back, there was no wallet there to receive it. They tried to send it back to that wallet, but Coinbase said, well, thank you for sending us the money. We don't know who it belongs to or where it goes, but we'll just stick it in the side over the side here. And then it was days before this person saying to me, I never did receive that money. Where's it gone? And I said, well, go and check with Coinbase. Tell them the transaction ID that was sent, and and where it was sent and so on. And they said, and they came back and said, oh, yes, we did receive that money. We didn't know who it belonged to. We put it over here. We'll give it back to you in about 72 hours. So this guy sat around for a week without his money wanting to do something. Whereas if it went to Exodus, if it went from Exodus to that business and they said, we don't want it, it would have gone back to his Exodus account because he's in charge of those wallets. He's not deleting them after the single use. And another thing is, if you can have many, many, many wallets just for one account. For example, your Bitcoin could have 1,000 different wallets. And more likely over a period of time, you'll have half a dozen, but all of those are still valid. So anybody sends any money to any of those wallets, they all go to the same account on your Exodus wallet. So we've strayed off estate a little bit. I'm doing a little bit of teaching about blockchains. I don't want to go into blockchains too much because I don't want to confuse you. I'm just saying have good discipline, use an intermediate wallet, and also put labels on all of your transactions. So let's carry on with this. We've looked at how to buy a property and where the money comes in. Let's have a look at my assets. This is what you would see when you have your assets. Now I've earned $19 there. That's pretty good. I'll move that at some point into my e-wallet. So here we have a list of all the different properties that I've purchased. There they are. My properties is my tokenized real estate. And with each property, you get a number of things. One is that's a PDF document that is a contract. So as soon as I have that contract, I download it and keep it somewhere safe. That's an asset for me. In a business sense, that's an asset. That proves my legal right to that share of that property. And so that's available and you can download that. This is available as well. You can check the transaction used to buy this property. You can check it on the Binance Smart Chain, or the BSC scan, it's actually called, but it's the Binance chain. And so you can check that transaction. Here's some information about this property, how much money it's made for me. So every single day it's making me some money. You notice it's making a little bit more at the beginning than at the end than it was at the beginning. This used to earn me a lot less than this. This is like the one that the property I started out with, and I thought, well, let me just try it and see how it works. And I put in, I can't remember what I put in now. Yeah, I think I put in $200 and I've earned $126 because what I'm doing is I'm auto capitalizing this. So I actually earn I own more property than the 200 I put in. This is what I was telling you about just now. I actually own more property than I started with because of this auto capitalization. Now, these are all auto capitalizing. And then somebody said to me, well, rather, if you're going to be showing people around your website, you should not auto capitalize all of them because you want to show people you've got money coming into your e-wallet. And I showed you just now, I've earned some money from one of my properties, and I've also got money in my e-wallet. That's all there as a result of earning money as an agent and as a buyer. So this one here is a villa. So I put more money in and I'm earning, some days I earn as much as $20 a day from this single property. And I put in 3,200, and that's what I still own because there's no auto capitalizing. And you can see here I've earned 2,167. So I'll break even fairly soon. So I've got all my money back, and I'll still have the property earning money for me at that point. So it keeps a record of all of the properties, all of the earnings from every single property. Okay. And this just a list of the recent properties. So profit credited, profit credited, profit credited, profit credited, profit credited. And you can go check every single transaction through here that you've ever had on your site. You can look at the statistics for all of your properties. And you can also check here per day how much you earn. So this is for 7 days. It could be for a whole month. Ooh. And so on this property, on this date, on the 3rd of March, I earned $30.56. Here, there I made 5 cents. There I made, on the 9th, I made $30.43, $30.30, and so on. So you can see, and today's not over yet, so there'll be some more to go in there. Okay, so you can see it's earning money every single day, 5 days a week. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? There's all sorts of summaries. I don't know whether to go into the money wheel or the rewards programs. I don't think I will. I just wanted you to have the knowledge and information of how to register, how to find the properties you want to buy, how to assess them, how to buy them, how to move the money into your e-wallet so that you can then buy the property. Of course, let me just go back to the e-wallet, and then this is the last thing I'm going to do on the site. You can do a couple of other things. One is you can transfer to somebody else. If you know their email address, you could transfer money within eEstate, and it costs the fee. Well, let's choose something. Let's say I want to send somebody $100. It'll cost me $1 to internally transfer that money. So I'll probably go $102. So they get $100.98, so they can buy a property. I could cut this down into, work out exactly how much for them to receive $100. But that's done in fractions of a second. It doesn't go anywhere near the blockchain. There's a back office transfer of data from one part of the database to another part of the database. The money stays in the back office where it's always been. Just the ownership of that money is moved from you to somebody else. Now, this is useful because you might have somebody say, well, I really want to get started. It's $117. I've only got $100. You said, don't worry, I'll put the $17 in for you. You can pay me back later. Very often, I don't even ask them to pay me back. I just do it because I'm a nice guy, I guess. I don't know if I'm teaching people bad habits, but that's what I do. And so I send them some money. They can then go ahead and buy their first property. So I like to make it easy for people to get started. I like to teach them the basics and get them started, get their first property up and running. The other thing you can do here is you can withdraw. So I want to withdraw, for example, there's a minimum amount of $40, but I want to withdraw $100. And I want to withdraw as USDT TRC20, which I have an account for. That's my wallet address. It's already pre-programmed in my wallet address for that. And I'm going to receive $99. So let's do this again. I actually want 100 for something else. It's my wife's birthday. I want $100 to buy her something nice. Okay. Now, when you first register, you get sent a PIN number, a 6-digit PIN. You'll need that for moving money around. Okay, so just memorize it, just know what it is, and don't share it with people. Nobody can touch anything in your account, even if they hack your username and password. They can't do anything without you. Oh, and also, yeah, we'll talk about 2FA in a minute. So they can't move any money around without your PIN number. When you get involved in anything to do with cryptocurrencies, if there is the option to set up a two-factor authentication, do so. It's your only protection against all the rubbish that happens on the internet. If you have two-factor authentication, that's your best and last line of defense, and it's the only line of defense that you have control over. So if you don't know how to do it, Google how to do it. It's not difficult. Download an app on your phone and then just set up two-factor authentication. Be very, very secure with what you're doing. Somebody once said a fool and his money are soon partying. I think what they meant is a fool and his money are soon parted. So never divulge your passwords, your PIN number, or your two-factor authentication to anybody. Okay, so that's all I wanted to cover on here. So once you put your PIN number there, you click confirm, and that's it. So I'm going to go back to my share for the yeah, I've run out of time to do all the things I wanted to do. Truth be told, I ran out about 25 minutes ago, but I'm going to finish this slide deck and then we'll call it a night. I will open up for questions and answers. I'll switch the recording off, but then we'll do questions and answers after this. So imagine investing 100,000 in estate right now by buying a development property. You see on the list there was a development property. I didn't focus on it, but it's there. And the return ROI is 100,000 in 5 months. So you put your 100,000 in, you get your 100,000 back within 5 months. If you continue earning at that level, which of course you will, then you'll make even more profit in the next 13 months. Why 13 months? Because it only gives you daily profit for 18 months. But you now earn another 231,500 in the next 13 months. So during the whole 18 months, you've received 331,500. You know, there aren't many investments you can make. In fact, I don't know of any other investments that you can make. You put 100,000 in and you get 331,500 out. Now you might say, well, that's too rich for me, too rich for my blood. I can't do that. I haven't got $100,000. But you know some people who do. You probably know some people who either build developments, build properties, sell properties, buy properties, renting agents, letting agents, all sorts of other people. Okay, people involved in real estate, if you offered them this deal, they would bite your hand off for it. And so you would have, you know, a few buyers in your team that are making this sort of deal. Your commissions would be very, very significant from that. Now, it's better than that because not only do you triple your money within 18 months, you get your original capital back after 18 months. So this doesn't go into the active phase. You get your $100,000 back after 18 months. So you've got 400. You've actually turned $100,000 into 431,500, which is 431% gain in 18 months. That's phenomenal. Now you might say, I don't know anybody who's going to do this. I don't know. I can't do it myself. But if this deal is available this early in the game, what's going to be coming next week, next month, next year? And you'll be around for it. It might be this good. It might be better than this. It might be more accessible because you need less money to get involved. Who knows? You might work your way up through your career as an agent over the next 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden $100,000 is no problem for you. Okay, so be excited about deals like this. I don't know if this deal is going to be around forever. It probably won't be, but there'll be another deal like it or better. So be excited. You can work your way up to this type of deal. Can you imagine in a few years' time when you're the sort of person who said $100,000 on that? No problem. I can do that. Okay, I'll just take it out of my e-wallet. And so within you know, straight away you start earning $500 a month almost. Sorry, $500 a day almost from this investment. That's pretty awesome. I think I've got those figures right. If not, I apologize. but it's a significant amount of money. So what do you do now? You get back to the person who invited you onto this Zoom call or the person who sent you this video, and you get their e-estate agent's referral link. I covered that. Then you register, look around the site. There's a huge amount of information. I only covered about 40% of the information that's available to you. There's all sorts of legal documents in the knowledge base. There's all sorts of contracts you can look at, all sorts of information about what a buyer gets, what an agent gets, and just so much stuff, all about the properties. It's awesome. There's a huge amount of information for you to help you make your decision. I didn't need that much information. As soon as I saw that this was tokenized real estate and how they're doing it, because I'm a real estate person anyway. I've been in real estate for 20 years now. 20, this is my 21st year just starting. So I knew what I was looking at, and if you show this to a real estate person, they will understand it instinctively and they will be in. So don't hesitate to share this with proper real estate people. Then discuss your plans with your introducer. Well, I want to have this many properties. I want to be earning this much money per month, per year, whatever it is, discuss it. They will help you figure out how you can do that, how long it's going to take you to get there. Now, if you want to up the ante a little bit and be introducing people yourself, make commissions. Also, you haven't got to want to make commissions. If you've got a desire to help other people you know, make money, have a better future, then introduce them. So then you become an agent so that you can introduce other people. And then deposit your funds and make your first purchase. I've just run through with you how to do that. And then join all the Telegram groups, Facebook groups, TikTok, X, whatever, all the platforms. eEstate is all over all of those platforms, and all the links are in your back office. I showed you some of them, but they're at the bottom of every single page. So further reading, you can find the roadmap to the future of tokenized real estate, company registration certificate, legal entity identifier certificate, partnership certificate with ARDR, the lake house. There's a document that describes the lake house, tells you all the benefits of it. Beautiful document, wonderful. If you were going to move to that house, you'd read that document, you go, yes, I want this. Okay. Similarly with the desert villa in Indio, California, you'd read the document, you go, I need this villa. So read them, learn about them. There's also a copy of the 2025 financial report. I extracted a couple of bits for my slides earlier. There's an agent employment contract. It's not the one you'll sign, but it's an example that you can read before you ever go down that road. There's a real estate token purchase. It's not the one you'll get with every single property, but it's a version of it. So when you actually buy a property, people's names will be put in there. Your signature will be appended to the contract. The one in the back office is just one that you can read and understand. There's a whole big presentation, a big PDF presentation about what are the benefits of being a buyer. What does a buyer get? What does an agent get? That's all in the agent presentation. There's an agent charter. Okay, what the hopes and aspirations are of being an agent and of having a team of agents. There's an agent code of conduct that you say, yes, I'm going to comply with that. There's an agent fast start playbook if you want to get off to a fast start. And there's a merch design program as well. You can actually buy things that will advertise your e-estate business. You can wear a baseball cap or a polo shirt or a fleece with some sort of slogan on them. And the idea is people will say, oh, what does that mean? As you say, it's funny you ask. I was going to tell you all about tokenized real estate. You know, what do you know about real estate? And just chat, and all of a sudden they're interested in your business, and then you take them through the website. You send them your link. Okay, so be your own walking advertisement. Wear some of the merch. Maybe at work have an e-estate mug. Nobody needs to know what you're doing at work, but some people will ask you about it. So that's an introduction to e-estate on the 12th of March 2026. I've been Andy Galloway. If you made it to the end of the video, I apologize, it's taken over an hour. I wanted to do so much more. I just can't talk that fast. So yeah, thank you for spending the time watching the video. The people on the call here, thank you for spending your time with me this evening. I really appreciate it. I'm going to finish up the video just by saying that we'll be doing a similar presentation here, the same time, same channel next week, next Thursday. So I'll look forward to seeing you then. But when you join the Telegram channels, you'll see, particularly the official Telegram channel, you'll see there are postings of a huge number of very, very experienced and great presenters. I mean, great presenters for e-estate, and there are presentations going on sometimes as many times a day, certainly every day of the week. Some days it's 2, maybe even 3, depend on different time zones. So there will be something that you like. There'll be a speaker that you like, you like the way they explain things or whatever. So not only yourself, don't only worry about yourself. When you introduce people to e-estate, make sure they get onto the calls with these great presenters so that they can learn as well. The more people you get to these presentations, let the presenter teach people, then it's the less work you've got to do. If you have to train everybody in your group, there's a limit to how many people you can have in your group. So with that, thank you, God bless, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.